So when studying and interpreting the Havamal, those of us who aren't experts in Old Norse have to depend on various translations. And sometimes this leads to different translators interpreting the same stanza to be along the same lines as each other, but still having different meanings and sometimes implying entirely different things. Now, at least specifically for this video, I'm going to compare the Terry translation of the Havamal stanza 30 with the Chisholm translation. The Terry translation saying, "Take more than a moment to judge a man who comes to visit. He may seem clever if they are asked no questions and don't stay out in storms." While the Chisholm translation is, "Do not ridicule another man though he is kin. He oft seem wise, who is not questioned and leaves dry-skinned." Now, for context, the idea of keeping out of storms and leaving dry-skinned is a metaphor that's very similar to dodged a bullet, which is effectively being able to not be showered in ridicule. But these two translations do seem to go about it in a different way, saying slightly different things. The Chisholm translation specifically mentions kin, so those closest to you, as well as basically leaving dry-skinned, not even being in the rain. Meanwhile, the Terry translation seems to put it all in the context of being a host as a man who comes to visit, and it's stay out in storms. At least how I interpret these are talking about two different kinds of people that are still effectively doing the same thing, just one might be a little better about hiding it. The Chisholm translation talking about how it's a man who, when questioned, is all of a sudden figured out to be a fool the moment that any ridicule can get to him. Which is something that we see in both previous and future stanzas in the text. Meanwhile, Terry's translation, again, stay out of storms, as in he is able to take some amount of ridicule, but he doesn't stay in the space. He is able to quickly move from topic to topic, or somehow avoid taking more ridicule. It possibly taking more of a moment to realize this is happening, and that person is not as wise as they've set themselves up to be, in a similar manner in the way that many people would state that, for example, Ben Shapiro argues. The Chisholm translation also says, "Do not ridicule another man, though he is kin." And to me, this means is like, do not ridicule someone who is, your family, your friends, those closest to you, because two things are going to happen. You're either going to reveal that the people that you are around are a fool, or you're going to be the fool. And the Terry translation does say something similarly, but it seems to imply more of a host-guest relationship in this case than necessarily your close social unit. So, important in all cases, but still gives different context, and as I believe, at least as written to me, how it translates to me. Now, Terry is one of the few translations that does this, so this might just have been a case of poetic wording going around, but I still think it's interesting that, this happened, and that I can get at least two different scenarios from the same stanza. And in both cases, still being very wise advice to me. Thank you for watching.